juillet à tôt, ça sera pas mal bon.
Bonsoir tout le monde. On va appeler la réunion à l'ordre. Il est 7 heures. Vous avez tous lire l'adoption de l'ordre du jour. Y a-t-il quelqu'un qui veut faire une motion pour adopter? Une motion par Danny et par Yvon. Tout en faveur? Oui. Oui. Si. Y a-t-il des déclarations de conflit d'intérêt? Yvon?
Conflit sur 11.11.
11.11, OK.
Non, Yvon, ton micro est pas.
Là, OK. Là.
So, break it back. Moi, j'ai conflit sur 11.11.
OK, on va noter ça. Ensuite, on va au point numéro 3, présentation. Ce soir, on a Marc Doussac, qui est le coordinateur de IMO, qui va nous donner des résultats sur un plan d'évaluation de IMO.
Good evening. I'm glad you had me in this evening. I've been doing the EMO position in Clare for about a year and a half. It's my first time to sit in front of council this way and give a little presentation. Before I do go right into the plan, the evaluation, I wouldn't mind just talking about a couple of things where we've been going. With EMO, we've been having our regular meetings other than in the summer. One of the things that I've worked pretty hard to get back is the back into the meetings of the CFFA, the Clare Firefighters Association, was requesting we attend and make a good partnership there. And I think it's a really important partnership, and they've been really welcoming to us and ready to help in any way. And we've been actually doing a few things together. When I came, we did have a few, and you'll see in our evaluation, a few things that were needed to be built up in our plan and workings of the plan. But we do have a lot of things on the go. Some things have already been corrected, and there's a lot more coming in the next little while that'll bring us back up to par. Generally, what's happened is the province, for many years, I think it was for almost 9 years, all municipalities in the province did self-evaluations, and the province wanted to do their own evaluation, so they did one province-wide on September 27th here last year. What happened was the results that were supposed to be in early November, December took much longer because they were dealing with issues of between drought at one end of the province and floods at the other end of the province. Most of the EMPOs that were doing the design and the evaluations were called away. We only had the final results, I believe it was sometime in May of this year, and we've gone over some of them. I've been with Stefan a couple of times, we've talked about this. And I have to give Stefan credit. He really gives me free rein to correct the problems, and whatever we need, he's there to back us up. And the members of the committee have been great. So, just to go into that, I guess we'll go into how the evaluation went. We'll talk about some of the things, and I'll just go over it briefly if there are any questions. And I will, as we go through them, talk about what we're doing to help alleviate any things where we fall short. Now, I have it on digital here. It's a little different for me to work with, but. Here we go. So the table of contents is pretty self-explanatory, and there was a place for notes. And how this evaluation was done, when they did the evaluating sheet, and he had talked to Stefan and I about this, they took the provincial EMO Act, and they pretty well mirrored what that says every municipality must do, and there were evaluations done on those. It goes into the why the EMO Nova Scotia used this approach, and really it's the same thing. It's to make sure that all municipalities were covering the Act. It was the planning tool, how it worked. So this is the evaluation date was September 27, 2016. Andrew Mitten, which is the provincial emergency measures planning officer for our region, was doing our evaluation. It was done at the ECC Center. So basically every section of the Act was covered in some little greater detail than others. So the scores are to the right, and anything that's highlighted in yellow are things where we did not make a passing grade in. Number 1 is appoint a standing committee of council. I believe that now that's done. There is an executive planning committee of council separate from the EMO planning office. Whoops, sorry about that, went up too far. The mutual aid agreements, we had some. They were fairly old, and the issue there was that they're supposed to be done, I believe it's every 2 years. We had planned, we have a document done with Digby and Annapolis, ready to be processed. We were supposed to have a meeting the week before last. One of the gentlemen took sick, couldn't make the meeting. The meeting's been postponed. As soon as we get that document, I'll be presenting it to Stefan for council to sign, and we'll bring that same one into Yarmouth and Argyll. And that's generally the one that's in practice around the province when municipalities share. So that'll also take care of 2 issues right there. And the next section is the municipality demonstrates executive leadership, and it says conducting 2 meetings of the standing committee each council year. And that's not there because there wasn't, until this year, there hasn't been one. What they'd like to see, and to reflect that, is that when there is the meetings, that the minutes will be forwarded to the EMO office, and we could keep them at our center. The next one, we did great because we have a plan. Our plan actually if you go through the act, what it calls for in the municipal planning strategy plan, it's right there. Everything it's right in place. So we're doing fairly well with that. Total in that section is 12 out of 14, which really wasn't too bad. And in that scoring, we go in between a rate of 11 and 12, which is the effort is made, but it is inconsistent, and that's basically because those little things that we're missing. The municipality has established a structure to direct its planning, and that was good. The council has approved the plan, and I can see when I look at our existing plan now, this plan needs some updating. We are working on it. Rather than have every piece updated every time we're done, as soon as the full plan is updated, we'll pass it back to council for a full update. And then that'll be, from that point, it'll be done every 3 years. Part of the act describes as how the process of informing EMO Nova Scotia, if we open our ECC here in Clare, they want to know why and all the details. He has sent me a document that we would actually forward to them. We have all their 24-hour phone numbers, so we have the process is there to connect to make the connection, but it's how it's reported. So they're doing a new document for us to send if we open our center. So again, that one, when that's done, that'll be checked off. The direction established by the plan has been communicated by the distribution of the plan too. And it says key participating agencies as defined by the emergency plan. I did check, RCMP couldn't find their copy. I did give them a recent copy of everything that we have up to date. I have to check with Nova Scotia Power. I haven't been able to find out the right person there, but we'll make sure they have our plan. They did have one. I'm assuming they still do. They're usually fairly good at keeping those things up to date. And I don't want to keep sending out plans that are half finished, so I've been kind of waiting until we get everything done and send the proper thing with them. The next section, there was 2 things. We missed both, and that's there was no standing committee at the time to review the plan, and there was no mechanism in place. And what I've done since then is made like an email group of anybody that would be updates for, and we would update them and let them, any page numbers that were changed would be sent to them right away. If this evaluation was to be redone in a month from now, we would have scored a lot better on the little things that we're missing. And again, we wound up in a fair here, and the plan exists, but there are technical problems or deficiencies, and the plan does not have adequate circulation or currency. And that's being worked on as we speak. Coverage and depth. A plan has an appropriate technical context. All of these we did not score on because we couldn't find any records of this. I went through all our records, and a hazard analysis has been conducted in the last 5 years. The last one we could find when we went through the filing system was about 9 years old. We have all the documents and how it's done, and we don't think many things have changed in Clare since that time. A couple of things you could add to to things that could be, that we could consider disastrous in Clare. We'll look into those. Your regulars are there, hurricanes, winter storms, things like that. Contingency plans have been developed where appropriate, and again, that would be if something changed, you have to do the plan for it. And the resources, the resource binder or page that I had that described what types of equipment were around Clare, heavy equipment operators, many of them small businesses that had an excavator or truck, those are all gone. So we do have to go back, and I haven't had a chance to go back. I'd like to go back to like the big contractors, Spec Resources, Gary Belleville, those, get a list of their equipment, what's available in Clare if we need heavy equipment. And again, if you look at what our plan consists of, our plan is right there. Where other than the one thing that we need to have is the post-emergency responsibilities, and through the training I've been taking with the ICS system, and Stefan's taken some, and myself and a few members of the committee. There's documentation. Once you learn how that process works, now we know how to put that document in there. So here with a total score of 3 out of 8, it looks fairly poor, but that's a lot of just paperwork, checking off boxes that have to be caught up. And in that section, we rated poor. And just to be clear, when I spoke to Andrew regarding this, I said, gee, this is very common across the whole province. This is not an uncommon score. It's just the kind of things, and a lot of it comes from, and I don't know if you're used to, anybody who does self-evaluations for a long time, it's pretty easy to get comfortable with, yeah, we're doing everything, checking the boxes. Again, so now we're talking, this section talks about the review, and the plan was created and revised in the last 3 years. It had not been revised in the last 3 years, so there was nothing ticked there. The testing, none of those boxes are ticked off because none of it in the last 3 years had been done. We are now planning a fairly big exercise this fall with the Firefighters Association. They're very excited to participate. We've had EMO in, we had DNR in. We're going to actually do a scenario with a forest fire in the municipality this fall. We've been planning, partial plans are already made, and we're hoping that it's going to go off. And the more participation we can get from the fire departments, the better. And I think that they're fairly excited about it. And just so you know, I'm doing one in a couple of weeks. The small option home, the things all have to evacuate their facility every 3 years. We've done Cottage Celeste. I'll be doing Maison Jerome first week of August. And it's nice, they're calling me to ask for our input, and as much as EMO wouldn't really participate in that, it gives us a good chance for our plannings and show them what the municipality has. The other thing, like you can see, we couldn't find any records of full-scale exercises, tabletop exercises, or an evaluation exercise. So all these things, this section here, this exercise in the fall, by the time we're done the exercise, the debriefing, all the documentation, all these boxes will be checked. So this section we rated a 1 out of 10, which brings us into the poor. And we knew, this was to be expected. We knew when we looked at where we were before he came for our evaluation, this is where we were lacking. We do have a good telecommunications plan. The municipality has a public alerting warning system. Quite honestly, I hadn't really looked too much into this, and after I had made myself some notes when we do have to look into how we're going to, what our next step is to get that process in place. What all it talks about in our plan is that we use local radio, but there's no set instructions. So. Excuse me. But the plan, when you compare our plan to what's required in the Act, it's all in there. And we scored an 11 out of 11. So in that section, it was an excellent. If you look, the one section that's yellowed out on top, there's an X in that box. And it was kind of, I think he kind of gave us half points because there was a schedule, it just wasn't adhered to. So he highlighted it yellow, but the schedule wasn't being adhered to. And again, this is public information. And the municipality participates with the private sector, industry, and cooperative and joint ventures that are intended to prevent emergencies or mitigate their effects. And that's where we'd be talking to the big construction companies if they're doing major road construction, that they know what, you know, they'll let us know if there's a problem that's going to close down one of our municipal roads, especially in the event of a disaster or a large event, like we have the Grand Fondo coming up. You don't want a construction company to be tearing off a road that you plan to use for part of for 400 bicycles to go down on a Saturday afternoon. So that's in the works. So in this one, we rated a 2 or 3. Is fair, and you know, again, that's kind of where we expected to be with that section. And the operational review, and again, a lot of this is when you do your scenario that we'll be doing this fall, we're going to have to cover all these things here. Andrew and I and Richard, anyway, Scott Andrews, or Andrews from Digby DNR are going to set the plan together, and that way the fire departments that are participating won't have full knowledge of where the intention of this forest fire will be, the path it'll take, things like that. And we will be at the same time have public information handouts, so that if somebody's in the area that we do the evacuation in, they'll get a document that'll say, you know, your local EMO has done this planning. Because many people, when I talk to people, and I tell them I'm the EMC for Clare, they have no idea what I'm talking about, and they didn't know we had one of the best centers in this end of the province is here in Clare. They didn't know we had that, and I'm trying to get more and more. I've actually been to a couple of public meetings for a couple of women's groups that invited me to speak on behalf of EMO, and so I pass out a bunch of pamphlets, and it's very informative for them, and they're liking it. So again, I think once we do our plan, run our exercise, do all our evaluations, we'll see that most of this is taken care of. Training-wise, myself and Stefan have now done at least 3 or 4 different things each. Some of our group has done some of the other ICS training. We just recently have online, they have one of the courses that's recommended for all the members of the committee, is done through Dalhousie, and it's done online. It's a $50 program, and it's one that everybody's supposed to have. So by this winter, I'd like to get all our members doing that. This October, Stefan and I, and at least 1 or 2 other members will be going to, I think it's Middleton, for a 3-day, and this is the ICS 300 course, which becomes more of the leadership part of it for running the emergency center. And again, that'll take care of, once that's all done, a lot of these boxes will be ticked off. I don't think we'll have, we'll never be at 100%. It's an evaluation. There's always going to be parts of the plan that we lack in, we miss things. But I'd like to see it where we're actually above the norm for right now. Apparently we're flatlining with the provinces pretty well, every municipality. And I was saying, I know when I was in school, I always liked my report card to be a little above average. So if we can hit that goal. The assessment system, again, this is part of the, we have to talk with the Firefighters Association. One of the comments we've had at their meetings, I try to attend all their meetings now, is what would initiate them to call EMO? EMO doesn't need to know every house fire, every structure fire, every car fire. But if it relates to, again, if they have to close a road down for more than a few hours because of a toxic chemical fire on the 101, it'd be nice for the municipality to know. If we have our residents that are going to be doing a car show and they want to take the drive around, we got 100 cars and 400 or 500 people on the roads, we want to make sure they're not heading towards a dangerous situation. So that we're working on. I do now have a good contact with TIR in Sonyville. For the longest time when I would try to call them at first, you dial the Sonyville number, you get, I'm not really sure, I think it's Truro. Now they've actually given me direct line to their supervisor, so that's been a help. Testing the alerting system, there is a procedure for available 24-hour dispatch center. One of the things we do have, and now on the municipal web page, the Facebook pages, my phone number is 24 hours there. But I am going to talk when I go to the EMC meeting in Digby. One of the EMC from Digby is actually the dispatcher, and I would like to have the conversation with them because that's a 24-hour operation all the time. If there's any way they would take that responsibility free of charge, and because it's only a phone, they're there anyway. And if we could add that to our phone, because then we absolutely have a 24-hour dispatch number, and if they can't find me, they can find Steph. They can find somebody that would open the center. That would satisfy that check mark right there, and it'd be a simple way of doing it. So that's on my list of asks for them when we go to Digby. Total score in that section was 5 out of 9, and again, that's communications. So resources, the appropriate personnel have been identified, and it says there is an alternate EMC, and there is. Jody would be my alternate. Key stakeholders are represented on the EMO Planning Committee. One of the discussions we did have, and this was with our EMPO, is that we have to make sure that the people on our planning committee are the relative to their trade. For instance, if we have EHS, we need somebody that is current in EHS procedures, phone numbers, all those documents, has access to the authority that if we need something, if we need ambulances, we need somebody who can contact them. Fire, we want to have somebody who can contact fire. Transportation, same kind of thing. So we're looking at that now. But we do have all this. Police have not attended a lot of our meetings, but are very active through emails. They've been to 3 of the evacuations I've done in the municipality for the small options homes. They're great. They love participating in that. It actually uses their plan also. They will be participating in the Maison Jerome evacuation in August. The Comfort Center and Shelter Program, we're very lucky in Clare that over especially the last 8 or 10 years, that the council, when they've built fire halls and things, have put generators in and put in the equipment that we can use comfort centers and shelters if we do have a big situation. When you start looking at what's happening out west, we need a comfort center open in Littlebrook. We have one now. For years, they didn't have much. Salmon River has one down that end. So it's nice that we have it all through the municipality. So if you look, this is the emergency management training requirements that are set out in the Act. And the EMC is has taken or scheduled to take basic emergency management. I already have that. The ECC management will be coming, I'm thinking, this winter, but if you look, the ICS 300, that's the one I'll be taking in the fall. The alternate has just taken the ICS 300. Jody has taken that through Clare Search and Rescue, Ground Search and Rescue. Where they take it, it's all the same. What's nice and good about the ICS system, it's universal. Everybody, once you're trained in it, you're trained in it. Again, you'll see that everybody's required to take the basic emergency management, and again, that's now online, so that's great. So the ECC commander, which would be Stefan generally, he has the ICS 100 and 200. And I don't know if he's done the one online or not, and then we'll be doing, as soon as the ECC management course comes up, both him and I would really require to take that. What's great about most of these courses the courses themselves are free. Even your food when you're there, sometimes meals are free. It's kind of, most of the time it's just travel. The EMO planning, training strategy, and we don't have that, and I think we really need to look at who we have on our committee, and budget-wise, how many people and how many things can we get trained, and the key people that are going to be making decisions so they know what they're just making decisions based on. And again, like I said, when this evaluation was done, we actually have taken 2 or 3 steps ahead of where that is now. Training, we were 7 or 8 in the fair. So basically, again, the municipality total wound up at a 58, and in the fair bracket, which is we knew we were missing a lot. I think when the next one comes, which would be next year, that number is going to increase significantly, just with what we've already done. And once we do our exercise in the fall and check a lot more of those boxes, this plan is mostly updated or up to completely updated, hopefully. that number is going to climb significantly and we'll be up into, I believe, the good or close to excellent. And that's province-wide. That's rated on the province scale. So we're where they expected us to be is where we are. So that was the whole thing, and I'm like I said again, I'm glad you let me present that, and I'd like to be back for the next one. Thank you.
Thanks, Mark. Good presentation.
Thank you.
A lot of information. You're busy, I can tell, but it's good to see that you're putting everything up to scale, and when you get all the yellow ones back, I'm sure after the big plan that you're going to do it September, you said?
Yeah, sometime September, late September.
Yeah. I know there's a lot of people involved, RCMP, EMO, the Clare Fire Association, everybody. So yeah, it's going to be a big event. Thanks again for your presentation. Deux choses que j'ai oubliées. Le préfet Ronnie Leblanc et conseiller Brian Camon sont absents ce soir. Et aussi, ça va juste être diffusé en français ce soir. La technique ne travaille pas en anglais. J'ai oublié ça aussi. La prochaine étape, ça va être point numéro 4, l'adoption des procès-verbaux. 4.1, le 21 juin 2017, réunion régulière du Conseil. Est-ce que une motion par Conseil Hector, secondé par Danny Hill. Êtes-vous tout en faveur? Oui. Motion passée. 4.2, c'est le 5 juillet 2017, réunion du Conseil. Quelqu'un qui a faire Éric Potier. Appuyé par Carl. Tout en faveur?
Oui. Oui.
Motion passée. Point numéro 5, les affaires découlantes des réunions précédentes. 5.1, mise à jour du dépotoir illégal, chemin John Thibodeau. Stéphane.
Oui, c'est une petite mise à jour pour le Conseil. Si vous vous rappelez bien, un bout de temps passé, je vous ai présenté des photos d'un site où les déchets avaient été mis illégalement. C'était des coquilles de homard. Et on avait reçu des plaintes du public sur notre page Facebook et sur notre site web. Juste vous laisser savoir que le site a maintenant été nettoyé par le propriétaire. Le bureau de Nova Scotia Department of Environment a communiqué avec WasteCheck et avec moi-même pour nous laisser savoir que le propriétaire du terrain a pleinement nettoyé le site et a collaboré de près avec la province pour le faire. Et ça a été fait à l'amiable. Alors, c'était juste pour laisser savoir que le site maintenant a été nettoyé selon les exigences et les normes de la province.
OK, merci. 5.2, c'est recommandation du comité pour les arrêtés municipaux, chemin de la Pointe-à-Major.
Oui, ça c'est pour la demande pour le chemin de la Pointe-à-Major selon l'arrêté 29, qui est l'amélioration et la prise en charge des routes privées. La municipalité peut considérer des demandes pour prendre les chemins privés et les convertir en voie publique. Le Bylaw Committee s'est rencontré la semaine dernière pour discuter du cas de la Pointe-à-Major. Et l'objectif du chemin de la Pointe-à-Major et pour n'importe quel autre chemin qui veut faire demande à cet arrêté municipal ici, c'est que l'objectif de la prise de contrôle est d'offrir des services aux résidents de ce chemin-là, surtout pour ce qui a trait aux ordures, aux autobus scolaires, au labourage ou l'élimination de la neige. En plus des services, on veut également garder à pouvoir assurer une route de meilleure qualité. C'est ça essentiellement les gros objectifs de cet arrêté municipal-là. En examinant la demande, on a consulté avec les politiques du Tri-County School Board ainsi que du CSAP. On a découvert que les deux conseils scolaires ne permettent pas aux autobus scolaires de parcourir des routes qui ne rencontrent pas aux normes de TIR, de Transportation and Infrastructure Renewal. En plus, en consultant avec TIR, ils nous ont confirmé par écrit que le département n'est pas prêt à maintenir des routes privées ou des routes municipales en ce moment, en raison des contraintes opérationnelles. Et ce message-là, j'ai reçu de Craig Smith, qui est le gestionnaire pour la région du Sud-Ouest. Alors, ça étant dit, le Bylaw Committee, comme je dis, a évalué le dossier et recommande deux choses. La première étant que le règlement ne soit pas modifié et que l'obligation de respecter les normes de TIR soit maintenue. De plus, le comité recommande également à la municipalité de ne pas reprendre la route, étant donné l'incapacité de TIR d'assurer le maintien des routes privées ou municipales en ce moment, en raison de contraintes opérationnelles, comme je citais plus tôt. La réalité est que la municipalité, et surtout notre département des travaux publics, on n'a pas l'habilité ou la capacité de maintenir les routes nous autres-mêmes. Alors, il faudra faire demande à TIR pour pouvoir assurer que l'entretien de la route se fasse faire. On n'a simplement pas les équipements nous autres-mêmes pour le faire, ou le personnel. Selon TIR, ce n'est pas quelque chose qu'ils sont prêts à nous offrir à ce moment. Alors, ça, c'est la recommandation du Bylaw Committee. Le président du Bylaw Committee, conseiller Brian Common, est absent ce soir. Alors, il m'a demandé de vous présenter la recommandation pour votre considération.
OK. Est-ce qu'il y a des questions sur la recommandation? C'est quelque chose qu'on peut rapporter en septembre pour donner chance aux résidents de peut-être...
Le Conseil a deux options. Normalement, comme ceci, vous aurez l'option de le rapporter à la réunion du comité du Conseil qui aura lieu, je pense, le premier mercredi de septembre, le 5 septembre, pour les raisons que le comité ou le Conseil ne se rencontre pas au mois d'août. Et à se présenter devant le Conseil s'ils veulent pour nous faire parvenir leurs commentaires, leurs concerns par rapport à la recommandation. La deuxième option, c'est si le Conseil veut se pencher dessus ce soir, vous avez l'option de faire une motion pour appuyer la recommandation du Bylaw Committee. Alors, c'est à votre discrétion de comment vous voulez procéder.
Danny?
I think we should wait till September and give the public a chance, one last chance to come have their say.
OK. Quelqu'un d'autre? Carl?
Mr. Stefan,
Ouais, normalement, ce sera le premier mercredi du mois, alors le 6 septembre.
6 septembre.
OK. So, on va peut-être... c'est ça le désir? D'aller jusqu'au 6 septembre? Je crois que ça sera une bonne idée. OK. Merci, Stéphane. Numéro 6, c'est le rapport des activités du préfet. Il m'a quitté quelques items qu'il a fait. Le rapport du préfet, le 26 juin, il a assisté à l'AGA de Harborside Lodge et Armée. Aussi, le 26, il a assisté à une annonce de Colin Fraser, député fédéral de Nova-Ouest, portant l'appui financier à 6 projets communautaires dans le cadre de 150e, inclus le projet de frappe de 50 000 $. Le 28 juin, il a dit quelques mots au nom du Conseil au Banca des Jeux seniors de Clare, qui ont pris place au centre des anciens combattants de Clare. Le 29 juin, il a assisté à l'AGA du CBDC à Digby. Et c'est tout pour son rapport. Moi, j'aimerais rien que t'annoncer aussi, j'ai été tirer un petit discours. Il y a des golfeurs dans Clare de toutes les Atlantiques. Ça s'appelait les championnats atlantiques des premiers élans de 2017. Et ça prend place dans Clare du 18 au 20 juillet. Et puis, il y a 94 jeunes de partout, de différentes provinces. Il y en a même une de la Colombie-Britannique qui est ici pour participer à ça. Alors, je félicite toutes et bonne chance à ceux qui sont en train de participer. C'est tout pour le préfet. Y a-t-il des questions? Non? Est-ce qu'il y a au numéro 7, des présentations officielles des membres du Conseil? OK. Carl?
Merci. Comme justement d'annoncer excuse, le 50e anniversaire de mariage, Alfred Joe Como, qu'on connaît comme Joe, et puis Cécile Como, son épouse, qui a eu lieu le 15, c'est-à-dire repassé le 15 de juillet. Sauf justement qu'ils avaient un certificat pour le 50e anniversaire de mariage.
C'est bien, oui, on
Merci.
peut faire ça. Point numéro 8, la correspondance. Juste une, Université Sainte-Anne, Stéphane.
Oui, merci, merci, Monsieur le Préfet. On a reçu une lettre de Alistair Surette, recteur et vice-chancelier de l'Université Sainte-Anne. L'objet de la lettre, c'est la subvention pour le système de filtration et de désinfection au campus Université Sainte-Anne à la Pointe de l'Église. Messieurs, Sire, par la présente, je désire vous confirmer la réception du 4e et dernier versement de 25 000 $ pour l'année fiscale 2017-2018.